Hi everyone, welcome back again to SJ's classes. I hope all of you are keeping well. In this particular session, I will be reading chapter 1 of Animal Farm. I will not be reading in detail the chapter, but we'll quickly go through some of the most important events in this particular chapter. Without much ado, let's move into the business. Now, the very first sentence of the novel: Mr. Jones of the Manor Farm had locked the hen houses for the night, but was too drunk to remember to shut the pop house. This is the very first sentence of the novel, and it brings us to what is to follow, or you can say that it gives you a taste of the feast that is to follow. Now you get to understand the setting of the story, which is Manor Farm. You come to understand the name of the owner of the farm, Mr. Jones, and you also understand what is a particular action that leads to a series of events that follow. It's Mr. Jones' inebriated condition. He was too drunk, and that is why he forgets to shut the pop holes, and that is what lets the animals do what they want. So the initial sentence introduces us to the setting, the events that is to follow. Now, as soon as Mr. Jones goes to bed, you have all the animals coming out, because word went out that old Major, a respectable animal among the animals on the farm, had seen a dream, and that he wanted to communicate this dream to his fellow animals. I had earlier said in my previous video that Animal Farm is a fable and also a beast fable, because you have animal characters in it. So you see animal characters talking like humans, sharing emotions in this particular novella. Now, Old Major was exhibited under the title Willingdon Beauty, but he was an old pig. He was around 12 years old, but everyone respected him, and everyone was ready to lose quite an hour's sleep to listen to what Old Major had to say. Now, Old Major was a wise and wise pig. He had a benevolent appearance. So you come to understand that he is actually a respectable figure among the animals. Now you have a lot of animals coming in to attend this particular meeting that Old Major has convened. And first of all, it's the dogs who come, Bluebell, Jessie and Pincher. You come across only a few names in the first chapter. You also come across some of the important characters who are in there in Animal Farm. You have the dogs coming in, the hens, the pigeons, the sheep, the cows, the pigs. You come across two of the most important characters, Boxer and Clover, and also Benjamin the donkey. You also have Muriel the white goat coming in. It's not only the name of the characters that you come across, you also get descriptions of various characters, like regarding Clover and Boxer, that you find on this particular slide. Now, Clover was a stout motherly mare, Boxer was an enormous beast. You also get a description of Benjamin. Benjamin was the oldest animal on the farm and possibly the worst tempered. So you find that you also get to understand the characteristic nature of these certain characters who are to turn out as the important characters in this novella. Now, then Major starts his speech. He goes on for an oration, and what is he going to talk about? He's going to talk about the nature of life of animals in England as well as in all other land. Now he says that comrades, he addresses them as comrades. This reminds us of communism, and basically this is what George Orwell was reacting against, what he was trying to satirize, the idea behind socialism, the idea behind construction of the first communist state, and how it ended up later on. This was what George Orwell was criticizing or satirizing. So he addresses his fellow beings as comrades. And he says that their lives are miserable, laborious, and short, and also that no animal in England knows the meaning of happiness or leisure after he is a year old. And he is saying all this to point out that they are not free in their own country. They are the one who produces, they are the one who helps human beings, but they are not free. And it's not only in England, but the thing is, the situation is same in all other lands. The life of an animal is misery and slavery, and Old Major says that it is the plain truth. And as far as Old Major is concerned, man is the only real enemy, and he says that you remove man from the scene and the root cause of hunger and overwork is abolished forever. So man is the cause of all their hardship, all their difficulties. It's man who treat them as slaves. It's because of man that their lives have become a suffering. And finally he also adds on to this to say that man is the only creature that consumes without producing. So all these ideas are being shared by the Old Major to point out that man is the root cause of all the evils that is happening in their lives, especially in the lives of the animals. And what does Old Major intended? He wants to get rid of man, and this he suggests as an advice, as a counsel. Get rid of man, and the produce of our labor would be our own. And these are some of the suggestions that he gives to his fellow animals. Now you must remember that he hasn't come to his dream yet. He has started his speech, but he hasn't come to the dream which he actually wanted to share. He goes on to elaborate the condition of animals in England, in that particular farm, and he conveys a message, the overthrow of human race, that he gives as his message for his fellow animals, and the answer lies in a rebellion. Now he gives some important lessons for them, and this is what later turns as animalism, something which the animals follow only in the beginning. Now he tells them that you must not become like man, you must not adopt his evil doings, you must not do whatever this man says, and these rules are later on converted into the 7 commandments. After describing the nature of life of animals in England and all other lands, and also giving a certain counsel to his fellow animals on the farm, he goes on to narrate the dream that he had the previous night. Now the dream that he sees is that he sees an earth from which man has vanished. That is the dream that he sees. Now it also reminds of a certain song that he used to sing when he was a kid. And he says, many years ago when I was a little pig, my mother and the other sows used to sing an old song of which they knew only the tune and the first 3 words. But he finds that he has come to understand the entire lyrics. And he says, and what is more, the words of the song also came back. Words, I am certain, which were sung by the animals of long ago and have been lost to memory for the generations. And this particular song is called The Beasts of England. This song reflects the rebellion. This song connects them with the rebellion. This song is what represents rebellion. Through this song, it is in this particular song that a vision of a future world, of a future golden time, is being narrated by Old Major. The song reads, beasts of England, beasts of Ireland, beasts of every land and clime, hearken to my joyful tidings of the golden future time. It talks about a future time which is golden, which means a time when everything around them will flourish, a time when they will not have to experience any sort of misery or hardship. Soon or late, the day is coming. Tyrant man, look at how the lyrics describes man. It describes man as a tyrant. Tyrant man shall be overthrown, and the fruitful fields of England shall be trod by beasts alone. So this is much similar to the dream that old Major sees, an earth from which man has vanished. Rings shall vanish from our noses, and the harnesses from our back. Bit and spur shall rust forever, cruel whips no more shall crack. So all these symbolizes slavery. Rings, harnesses, bit and spur, cruel whips, all these are symbols of slavery, and these lines show that a certain time will come in future when you won't have to experience slavery. Riches more than mind can picture, wheat and barley, oats and hay, clover, beans and mangel wurzels shall be ours upon that day. Their produce, the nature's produce, will be enjoyed by the animals and not by the human beings. I hope you remember what I earlier said, all major stating man as the only animals who consume without producing. So all these make them argue against the present status of man as the one who enjoys all the produce. So a time will come when all the produce, when all the riches of nature will be their own. Bright will shine the fields of England, purer shall its waters be, sweet yet shall blow its breezes on the day that sets us free. So freedom, on the day that they get freedom, they will experience nature, they will experience life as they experienced never before. For that day we all must labor. Though we die before its break, cows and horses, geese and turkeys, all must toil for freedom's sake. So each and every animal on this farm must struggle to attain that freedom. Perhaps we might die, we might perish before we attain it, but each one of us must struggle towards it. Bees of England, bees of Ireland, bees of every land and clime, hearken well and spread my tidings of the golden future time. So the song ends on a positive note. It's a highly optimistic poem in which through which they saw a future time, a future golden time, during which they will enjoy, they will experience something known as freedom, which at the present situation they are not experiencing. And finally, after that, we come to see that the chapter 1 comes to a close. The singing ends with the wildest excitement. You have the cows lowing it, the dogs winning, the sheep bleating it, but unfortunately Mr. Jones wakes up listening to all these voice, and he fires at the barn thinking that there is a fox out there, and everyone goes back to their respective places and they go to sleep. This is where chapter 1 ends. Thank you for watching. In the next video I will be elaborating on chapter 2.